Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of True Crime and Whatnot. I hope you enjoyed last week's episode of the Bloody Benders. I found that to be a very fascinating case to research. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. Today we're going to go down the Whatnot road with this one. And it is a centuries old unsolved mystery. Our story begins way back in 1585. That's right, 1585. When Sir Walter Raleigh sent a fleet to attempt to become the first permanent English settlement in America. With the group that he sent was a man by the name of Ralph Lane. Now, Ralph Lane was the first founder of Roanoke Colony on Roanoke Island in present-day Dare County, North Carolina. After founding the settlement, Ralph would be known as Governor Lane. The colony had a lot of supply issues, and apparently they had very poor relationships with some of the local native tribes. And because of this, in 1586, a resupply from England was delayed. So Governor Lane decided to jump ship, so to speak, and abandon the colony to return to England. 2 weeks later, all the supplies arrived with a small detachment that was sent to protect the land. In 1587, John White landed on the island, and he basically set up a brand new settlement. Sir Walter Raleigh had sent him to establish the city of Raleigh in Chesapeake Bay. In late 1587, Simon Fernandez stopped by to check on the colony and then forced the colonists to remain at Roanoke while White would return to England with him with the intention of bringing back supplies. However, the Anglo-Spanish War delayed his return. When John White left Roanoke, he left behind a wife, a daughter, and an infant granddaughter, whose name was Virginia Dare. Virginia was the first child born to English parents in the New World. Now, John would not return to Roanoke until 1590. And what he came back to was definitely not what he was expecting. He arrived to find the settlement fully fortified, but completely abandoned. The word Croatoan was carved into a nearby tree and a post. Now, because of the carving, John White believed the colonists had relocated to the Croatoan Island, which is now Hatteras Island. But because of rough seas and a lost anchor, he wasn't able to follow his lead. So he wasn't able to find out for sure if his hunch was correct. Now, there are many differing ideas as to what may have happened to the colonists. Some believe that the nearly 120 colonists joined up with the nearby native communities. There are writings as early as 1605 that actually support this theory. Investigations have been done by the Jamestown colony, and those stated that the settlers had been massacred and that there had also been sightings of people with European features in Indian villages. However, there was no conclusive evidence for either of those stories. By 1834, interest had declined until George Bancroft published his account of the events in A History of the United States. As of 2015, 2 independent teams found archaeological remains that suggest at least some of the colonists might have survived and split into 2 groups. Each group probably joined a different Native American tribe. Now, one team has been excavating a site near Cape Creek on Hatteras Island, which is about 50 miles southeast of the Roanoke settlement. The other is based on the mainland, about 50 miles northwest of the settlement. Cape Creek is located in a live oak forest near Pamlico Sound and was the site of a Croatoan town and trading hub. In 1998, archaeologists from East Carolina University found a 10-karat gold ring engraved with either a lion or a horse. It's believed to date back as far as the 16th century British America. This would lead to even more excavations led by Mark Horton, who is an archaeologist at Britain's Bristol University. Now, he had been directing volunteers with the Croatoan Archaeological Society since 2009. They recently discovered several artifacts of European and Native American origin, including an iron rapier, which was a lightweight sword used in England in the 16th century. Historians have also figured out from writings that during the autumn of 1585, the colonists had gotten enough corn from neighboring villages to help sustain their very limited supply of food. Now, along with the corn, they were able to obtain enough venison, fish, and oysters to help hold them through the winter. But there is very little info regarding what happened between September of 1585 and March of 1586 that would make it completely impossible for the colony to last all winter. It's believed they exhausted their English provisions and the American corn by October, and that led to low morale. Another theory is that the settlers tried to sail back to England and were either lost at sea or met a terrible and bloody end at the hands of the Spaniards who came from Florida. By 2007, scientists had begun to collect and analyze DNA from local families to see if they had any relation to the settlers, the natives, or to both. Now, I personally do not believe that the Native Americans massacred them. At least not on the grounds of the colony. If they had, I believe bodies would have been left in the open. However, I do believe the men decided it was better for them to get further inland, probably due to inclement weather. You would have more options for food and shelter by moving inland. And I do think that they were absorbed into at least one tribe. If they had been attacked, the men would have tried to defend the fort. There were no arrows, no bullet holes. So there's no sign of a battle. There's no sign of a struggle. And that leads me to believe that no battle took place on that land. I have not been able to find anything so far regarding the DNA. But I do believe they will find someone that has those bloodlines. I've been fascinated by this story since I first heard it as a teenager. And I really hope you guys enjoyed it as well. There was a lot more history involved with how and why the colony was settled, but I didn't want to bore you with all the extra details on it. Because it got kind of boring. It got really boring. And I enjoy history, but it was boring for me. So, do you guys think that they were massacred? Do you think they were absorbed into the local tribes? Do you think they were lost at sea? Let me know your thoughts. You guys can now follow me on X, or formerly known as Twitter. Just look for the True Crime and Whatnot cover art. Please follow the podcast on Spotify. When we hit 100 followers, I will play Bean Boozled. I appreciate you guys listening to today's Whatnot. And until next time, stay true and whatnot. Later, guys.